Garrosh is one of those characters that makes you realize Blizzard has no idea what they're doing with their own writing.
All who challenge me will burn in the fires of my hatred.
Because for a brief, shining moment, Garrosh was perfect. And then Blizzard spent the next 5 years slowly dismantling everything that made him interesting. Garrosh is what happens when a character is too well written first, so well that the writers actually start panicking because players actually like him. He started as a great concept, an orc burdened by legacy, and terrified of weakness, his own and everyone else's. He was a villain because of his personality. And that's rare for Warcraft.
A true war chief would never partner with cowards.
Garrosh's biggest flaw and his greatest strength was his conviction. He believed in himself so completely that it became dangerous, and that's the foundation of a phenomenal antagonist. Someone who isn't evil for the sake of being evil, but who genuinely believes he's right. The early writers nailed that. Remember Stone Talon? I know you like that questline.
Honor, Kromgar. No matter how dire the battle, never forsake it. You have disgraced the Horde. By my right as War Chief, I hereby relieve you of duty. You are dismissed!
The moment Blizzard later called a mistake. Yeah, a moment of incredible character depth. Garrosh executing his own general for dishonor, and Blizzard calls it an accident. That's when you realize they didn't understand what made him compelling in the first place. Because Stone Talon Garrosh wasn't out of character. That was his character. He had a code, a twisted code, but still a code nonetheless. He wasn't chaotic evil, he was lawful stubborn, and that's where the potential was. If Blizzard had leaned into this idea that Garrosh was a man whose moral system collapses under the weight of his pride, he could have been one of the best villains in modern fantasy. Instead, in my opinion, this is my opinion of Garrosh, they just turned him into a cartoon villain. By mob, Garrosh wasn't the orc with insecurities and ideals anymore. He was just evil war chief. Every line of dialogue sounded like it was written by someone who only knew him through memes. The subtlety was gone, the nuance was gone, the internal conflict replaced with yelling. And the players who like Garrosh's complexity were basically told, no, you're wrong. That's just how it is now, he's evil. You could tell the writing team wasn't on the same page. Different writers clearly saw different things in him. Warrior of honor, fascist tyrant, failed student, pure evil. And instead of picking one, Blizzard just said, why not all of them? The result was a character that only made sense if you read all the novels, played every expansion, and had a flowchart tracking his personality shifts. Then came what? The perfect setup for closure. Garrosh meeting his dad, confronting his legacy, maybe even realizing what he became. But no, he gets yeeted off screen, killed in a cutscene, and that's it. It's actually very impressive how you can set up a story about generational trauma, destiny, whatever, and then not make any of it. And instead of a meaningful father and son moment, we just got Green Jesus just kills Garrosh and that's it. Thrall's guilt was supposed to mean something, but Blizzard wrapped it up like they were late for lunch. Then years later, Garrosh shows up in Shadowlands, and somehow in just a few minutes of screen time, he became more interesting than he'd been in 5 years. He refuses redemption, he spits in the face of the afterlife, he dies again on his own terms, burning himself rather than serving another master. That scene was Garrosh. Because he was never meant to learn. He wasn't supposed to become a better person. He was a cautionary tale about pride, about a man who mistook conviction for virtue. And it's poetic that his final moment in the expansion where everyone gets a cosmic redemption arc, it's him saying, no, I'll go out my way. It's the most Garrosh thing ever written. So what went wrong? Simple. Blizzard tried to make a nuanced character, but halfway through, they just decided they want a boss fight. They didn't know how to handle someone who wasn't purely evil or purely good. They didn't want a character who you could understand. They wanted someone you could defeat. And that's why Garrosh stands out today, because in hindsight, he was one of the few antagonists who actually felt like a person, someone driven by fear, pride and conviction, someone whose downfall wasn't corruption or magic, but simply himself. Garrosh wasn't a bad villain, he was a villain who was written badly. And Blizzard didn't fail him because they made him evil, they just made him boring. So next time you think about Garrosh Hellscream, remember, this wasn't a story about orcs or honor, it was a story about how Blizzard accidentally made the best villain, panicked, and then tried to kill him twice. And honestly, even dead, he's still more compelling than most of what came after. Thank you very much for watching. You can check this video out here, and if you liked it, like the video and subscribe.